is this in the best interest of the clients? And is this in the best interest for the team? And if the answer is no to one of those, then it's not the right decision.
I love bookkeeping.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for listening to the I Love Bookkeeping podcast. My name is Hannah Robinson.
And I'm Melissa Honan.
And thank you for tuning in. Today, we're going to be continuing our series talking about originality in business. And we're going to be discussing staying on brand, especially in a world of social media and trends. They seem to come and go like at lightning speed, and it can be really overwhelming. So we want to touch on staying on brand with your business. Melissa, I feel like you are very good at this.
I focus on this so much because it was just so important to me. I wanted to be this, I don't want to say I not the big companies where they're a brand, but I did, I want bookkeeping for painters. When you see it, what we are. It was just always so important to me. That being said, we have modified our brand a few times over the years. But I always, the core stays the same, right? And I think we're finally at a place where, the imagery is the same. Everything is the same. We're consistent, right? And that's what's so important to me. And I credit all of our success to consistency in our niche specifically. And that's why I know you guys are like, oh God, they're going to mention niche again. I'm going to take a shot, but it's true. It's true. I'm just going to bring it to the cows come home again that staying on brand in my niche is the reason why I have, $1 million plus business.
Yeah. And I think that's, I think the first step of staying on brand is to first find your values and stick to them. Like no matter what the trend is, no matter if you're virtual or in person or what's going on in the world, I think when you have your core values and you stick to them, that is how you stay on brand. And that's how you stay original, especially in a world of such fast, I feel like trends are just, they're over and out before you can even kind of get adjusted to it. And so kind of not being susceptible to every single trend that kind of comes your way. It can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. I think it's kind of a double-edged sword, but at the end of the day, if you stick to your values and you stick to kind of your core beliefs as a business, I think that's how you really stay true to your brand, is by first things first, find your values, stick to them.
That's so true. And what I try to instill in my entire team is when we're at a decision-making point to always ask, is this in the best interest of the clients? And is this in the best interest for the team? And if the answer is no to one of those, then it's not the right decision. We want everything that we do to be in the best interest of our clients and our team. And a lot of times, the newest, latest thing, it's not going to be that, right? And so that's why we've been, I don't want to say immune to a lot of trends that have come and gone, but unless something sticks around for a year, I don't even pay attention to it. It's, the same thing with stop comparing yourself to your competitors. Stop comparing everything to the newest, latest thing. Because we all know that the newest, latest thing doesn't mean it's the best thing.
Yeah. Well, and I think I think that's why it's so important to kind of have the integrity of knowing your values, because if there is a new trend that you see coming, whether it be a marketing trend or a new software or something like that, I think you can ask yourself, does this align with my values? If yes, then I think you can maybe take the next step to explore if it works for you. But I think that's why it's so important to have that integrity in the first place, so that you can stick to who you are and stay true to yourself. And I think there has to be a level of holding yourself accountable.
That is, yes, always. Or having people on your team that can do that for you. Because there's definitely been times where I've strayed from that, right? We're human and we make mistakes. And especially we were just talking about being creative and having tons of ideas. I'm an idea person. Sometimes my ideas stray from our values or our mission, and my team circles us back and says, hey, actually, remember when we said we were going to stick to this? That's what we're doing. Okay. Put that idea to the side. I've made references to it in quite a few episodes, but in 2019, we decided to expand into adjacent trades, not just painters, but we do also have a bookkeeping for trades brand. And that actually, it stemmed honestly out of fear of COVID. Going into COVID in 2019, the end of 2019, we were all worried, right? Like, is there going to be a big recession? What's going to happen? Painting isn't a necessity necessarily. A lot of times painting is a luxury. Is this something that people are going to be buying and wanting to expand into what I thought would be recession proof trades, right? If, a tree falls on your house, you have to get your roof replaced. You don't have to paint it, things like that. And in something that I felt like this is the best thing for our clients. This is going to be the best thing for our team, making sure that we're recession proof so we can continue to serve our current clients. I'm not going to have to let my team members go if we lose a lot of clients because we're going to bring on clients that are recession proof. I went ahead and I made that decision, and it turns out it was actually the wrong decision for our company. And it's something that I'm still working through, almost 3 years later. So even when you are essentially still in line with what you think you're doing right, know that it might not still be the right decision, and hold yourself accountable and circle yourself back to, okay, well, that didn't work, but now how can I be better next time?
Yeah. Well, and I think even though trends come and go, you can make mistakes, you can kind of have to learn from your failures. But I think providing consistency in the service that you give is another great way to stay on brand. And I think there's a big, big difference between evolving your brand and totally changing your brand. And I think evolving is when you level up and you kind of adjust with the times so that you can better serve people. Changing your brand is kind of, I see that more as compromising your values. And there's a big difference, because I think evolving your brand is totally necessary, but changing it altogether, not always totally necessary. And I think that's why it's so important to build that foundation of who you are and your values, so that when things change, which they inevitably will, you can stick to what you believe in and stick to what, like having integrity in your business.
I agree with that. And I think the best way to do that is to just make that as easy as possible. That's why I really like working with, professional graphic designers or professional artists, and designers. And, when I'm creating a brand, so that I have consistent brand assets. At least from the design perspective, we have consistent colors, we have consistent fonts, we have consistent backgrounds, we have, consistent social media backgrounds, things like that. Because for me, it almost becomes synonymous with those values. And when we start to see design aspects change, to me, it's a visual cue that, okay, is everything else in the same spot that they're supposed to be? For me, I'm just very visual. So having everything on paper, having my company dashboard where I log in every day and I see my company values and my company mission and my company name right there is really important to me. Because I'm definitely like an out of sight, out of mind type person. So for me, having, a professional brand kit and having my values, my mission statement, my goals, at the front of my mind every day helps me stay consistent.
Today's show is brought to you by Keeper, the one app to run your bookkeeping business. Keeper helps you get faster client responses with your own custom branded QuickBooks integrated client portal. Finally, You can say goodbye to those pesky spreadsheets full of uncategorized transactions. Keeper also helps you catch those embarrassing coding errors before your clients do. And with Keeper, you can generate beautiful custom reports that your clients will absolutely love to read. To find out more, go to keeper.app. That's keeper.app. Mention I Love Bookkeeping to get 20% off your first 3 months. Again, go to keeper.app to find out more. Thank you for listening.
I think something that is important to remember is your brand is not just your values, it's your actions that follow them. So like you can say one thing about who you are and act a completely different way. And that creates inconsistency. I think your brand is not only the values that you preach, but it's your actions and it's how you follow through. And when you're able to align values and actions, I think that's when you really create consistency and you kind of get that positive feedback and you get that positive reputation for not only being good, being somebody at the top of your field, but also having integrity with it and it having a good reputation. And, as a business owner, it is important to have a good reputation for your business.
I definitely agree with that. And it's really important to me to always follow through with what you say. If you make promises, to keep them. And if you make mistakes, to make those mistakes right and just be honest about the mistakes that were made and do the right thing by the client. And I think that it's a great way to keep your reputation. We're always going to make mistakes. But just being honest and transparent about that and just following through. I think that's so important. Like you keep mentioning integrity. It really just comes down to integrity, especially in the accounting world, right? We're dealing with money in a very sensitive subject. So having that transparency and making sure that, you are in line with what you say. Because that at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter what you say if what you do doesn't line up.
I completely agree because then it's like, and that, I think that drives me. It's like a big pet peeve of mine when I feel like people don't follow through because I think I try my best to follow through and do what I say and say what I mean. And so I think that's so important in your business. And I think it's kind of one of those things that I always say, it sounds so simple, but it's so meaningful. You have obviously had a lot of success in your business. And you've also, I from afar have watched you evolve and grow. How do you stay true to yourself and to your brand throughout the years of being a business owner?
Oh man. Yeah, I think for me, the brand, I want to say, so the brand is not me, right? And so I think that's the difference here between what I'm doing and what a lot of other people are doing. If you pick a niche that maybe you worked in, that you're passionate about, you know everything about, this is your company, this is your name, whatever it would be, right? And so that has always been a struggle for me for a while. Originally my husband founded the business, and for a long time I felt uncomfortable thinking, oh, well, it's his business, it's not my business. And I got over that, obviously. For me, it was really just, I have the same values as the company, and that's what I focus on. And I keep consistent. Again, I'm still in this business, even though I can't say that painters are my passion, right? Like I do love the clients that I work with, and I really do like the industry that I'm working with, but can I say that it's my passion? No, my passion is my team. I seriously do. I love bookkeepers. And so everything that I do in the business always has a question of, is this the right thing for the team? And I think that that's something as you evolve, it might just be you right now. But if a lot of people, they want to have, this company culture. And I think a big part of that is, empathy and thinking that it's beyond you, right? At this point, and that's why I stay in it. I stay in it because I have this amazing group of people that believe in me and I believe in them, and we have the same mission. So I guess that's really, at the end of the day, my team is what keeps me consistent and what keeps me going.
I feel like you do a great job of holding yourself accountable. And that's another way that I feel like you have been able to stay on brand and maintain the integrity of your business. And I think it's also really important to hire people that hold you accountable. If your business is in the phase where you are looking to hire, having people who can align with your values and align with the company's values, I think that's crucial to maintaining your brand.
I am absolutely my own worst critic on steroids. And I think that is done. That aren't we all? But I cannot imagine. I can't remember the last time that I actually allowed myself to celebrate one of our company wins. And that's something that I'm working on, right? But I think that's a big part of this, right? Is that I've never been content with anything that we've done. Even now, I'm not content with what we're doing right now. And I have bigger goals, and I know I'm going to get to those goals. And I think for me, it's always just admitting that truthfully in the bookkeeping industry, but also with my clients. When I do make a mistake, they know that there's no time where I will ever tell a client that we didn't make a mistake. If we did, I will flat out tell them, hey, we messed up. My bad. We're going to fix it. And I think, again, that honesty and, transparency is the most important thing that you can do. And I think, holding yourself to higher standards, not to the point where, you're like me. Don't do what I do, kids.
Do what I say, not as I do.
Do what I say, not as I do.
And I think that's such a great point. Because I feel like for me, I'm not a business owner. You and I produce this podcast together, but I think something that's a part of my personal brand as just who I am, I think I'm constantly pushing myself to level up and to be better and to kind of consistently hold myself accountable and push myself. And I think when you do that on a personal level and you also do it in your business, you're right. Like you can kind of lose sight of what you need to celebrate. And ultimately, I think celebrating the wins and acknowledging how far you've come and how you've stuck to your true self and stuck to your integrity and your values. I think that's something that does need to be celebrated, that maybe gets missed.
And if you can't celebrate yourself, right? Like there's just some of us where it's just not going to happen, right? Surround yourself with people that celebrate you. Like I will always speak to this, having, a mastermind group or having a team in your company or colleagues or, I'll go ahead on a rant again about having, strong female friends around you, surround yourself with those people that can do it for you and that you do it for them. Because sometimes you can't just do it yourself.
For those of you who are listening out there, if you have ways that you like to stay on brand or you have questions, comments, concerns, tips, please shoot us an email at success@ilovebookkeeping.com. Again, that is success@ilovebookkeeping.com. My name is Hannah Robinson.
And I'm Melissa Honan.
And thank you for tuning in to the I Love Bookkeeping podcast.
I love bookkeeping. Here's a little shout to all my friends working hard at keeping the books. You want to change your life, you want to grow that